Mhm. Good morning. Now, let me take you down. Let me take you right down to the days when my blood was full of care. Yeah. So, about 4 or 5 years ago now, I used to do way too much ketamine because I was prescribed it by a private pain clinic. I started going there because this was after the emergence of my nerve pain, something that has been really a living hell most days of my life. Um, and, first off, they hooked me up with an infusion, which is, a hell of an experience. It's like being blasted into warp speed. It's expensive though, so I only did it twice. But it effectively works by uh, filling you with enough ketamine so your nerves freeze and the inflammation goes down while it's frozen. At least that's how they explained it to me. Now, they started with prescriptions, anyways, giving me these little tablets. Not like a press pill or anything, but like the little press squares. And I remember like when I ate them, they gave me the same feeling as like rubbing cocaine on your gums. They're like little nummy tablets, I call them. Um, yeah, they just make your mouth completely numb. Didn't know ketamine had that effect. It might have been that they put lidocaine or something in it. But in any case, these tablets, I think they're 20 milligrams a pop. And ketamine doesn't have a great oral bioavailability, so I didn't really find much alleviation of my pain from that. Also, they didn't really get me high. So I remember I ate like 600 milligrams worth, which, let me do the math in my head right now. That's, 30 tablets. So, and then I threw on a Pink Floyd album, and I felt it was lacking. So, and Pink Floyd and just about any dose of drugs goes, pretty far. But, yeah, so I didn't get quite what I was looking for from those tablets. So I started prescribing me, and this is when the big guns came out. They started prescribing me liquid ketamine, and it was essentially just saline solution and ketamine. And it came in a bottle like that. And I only had to pay $90 a month. I can't remember how many ounces were in the bottle, but each spray was, I think, 25 milligrams. And I remember doing the math, and it translated to a quarter ounce of powdered ketamine a month, which is a lot of freaking ketamine. And, that made me a happy camper. I was having ego death twice a day. And, I mean, the thing was, though, the dose, and it took me a little while to figure this out, would kind of increase gradually, not because I was using more, I used the same amount every day, but like I go in my room once or twice a day, and I do enough just to blast me out of my body. And so the dose increased to, I don't know how much, but because when you get about halfway, 3/4 through the bottle, it would start evaporating the liquid. So it would get stronger, essentially. Yeah. And a couple times I anesthetized myself, like full on, like, I can't move, man. Like full on, just like they're prepping me for surgery kind of thing. But yeah. So I mean, I had a lot of good times, a lot of scary rides too, and like I'd done a lot of like very personal sort of psychoanalytic work where I built up sort of this what looked like an apartment complex when I would K-hole, and I would go through this complex and I would sort through every room, and I basically saw that as symbolic of my own mind. I was categorizing, I was getting the chaos in order. That was good. I actually managed to do that for a couple of years, and I was pretty stable. Now, going on about getting to the third year is when I started to go a little bit loopy. Now, it started when I took, because I would take tolerance breaks every now and then. And the nice thing about ketamine is it's not physically addictive, and I can confirm that, because I went just about every day for a year and then stopped for 5 days when I accidentally spilled the contents of the bottle. Because the thing is, that the little spray thing would get clogged up every now and then, so I'd have to take it out and just like run some hot water over it and then pop it back in. And so they're like, yeah, no, we can't fill it early, so you gotta wait. I waited, I think, 7 days and I was fine. Oh yeah, I noticed a little bit of rebound pain, but I get that even from THC. And yeah, so I took a tolerance break for about 5 days. Went back, got my script, proceeded to KO something fierce, and I had what didn't seem like an astonishing experience at the time, because really, what I remember seeing is kind of people in lab coats walking around. They're looking into what looked like kind of those like very high-tech, expensive microscopes, where they have these visor-like things that people look into. I saw a cross that was slightly broken on one end with a little golden Jesus on it. I saw a fan going like this. I saw this, like, intermittently, this fleshy tunnel. And it would kind of come up between images. And, I would often see a tunnel when I was K-holing, so it didn't strike me as particularly profound and like something otherwise different than what I was used to experiencing. But I also saw this big black instrument that I had never seen before, kind of resting against this device, and every now and then, instead of seeing the tunnel flashing, I would see bubbles. And, yeah, so, it's like, oh, crazy, cool, sweet. Another thing about K-holing is it's kind of like DMT, where you go in and you think every secret of the universe is being revealed to you. Then you come out of it and you're like, that was so cool, that's the greatest thing I ever experienced. Wait, what happened again? I can only remember like 3 images. Yeah, so, it wasn't until I did my colonoscopy, because I have like very bad prostate pain, and they're trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And so, I went in, and I told them like because I was on methadone and Valium at the time, and the medication they wanted to anesthetize me with was fentanyl and midazolam. And those 2 drugs kind of contraindicate each other a little bit, because the methadone and fentanyl, both opioids, methadone really blocks up your receptors. Fentanyl is really the only drug that like effectively kicks stuff off of your receptors, but they're using it in pretty low doses. So I wasn't sure if it was going to work. Also, midazolam, it's a very similar GABA agonist and to Valium. I mean, it's much stronger. It's what killed Michael Jackson. But I thought because my tolerance there might be an issue. So they decided to double the dose. And then I think they more than doubled it because I also had, a lot of anxiety going on because I had to be awake for this. And so, yeah, essentially, long story short, the medication they gave me didn't work. And they were like, no, we're not giving you any more. We don't want to risk an overdose. So I felt bloody everything. But here's where it gets spooky, okay? So, going in, I saw that broken cross with the little golden Jesus on it. And I was like, I got this feeling, this pit in my stomach. And kind of that deja vu sensation of, like, all of these parallel universes coming together at the same time. It's like you're in all these parallel universes, you're doing the exact same thing at the same time. And, it's like you've done it 1,000 times before, or you've done it an infinite number of times before. That's how I describe deja vu, anyways, when I experienced it. And this was not much different. I remember they wheeled me into the room, and I saw there was a fan kind of going like this. Or it wasn't a fan; it was a very distinct AC unit. But what I saw was an AC unit going like that. And I also saw these devices with the visors that looked kind of like a microscope, but they had these tubes running out into this big black instrument that I'd never seen before in my life. That's what they were going to stick in my rectum. And I also was like looking at the screen, and like once they had it in me, and I'm like screaming and howling, like I saw this fleshy tunnel that was it's my colon, and then they would put the instrument into this bubble bath thing of simmering boiling water, and just keep it sterilized, and so that freaked me out. It was like the ketamine was trying to alert me of this traumatic experience. And so after that, I started thinking that like ketamine was a way of hacking time in a way. And this is when I started to become a little bit unhinged. And like kind of what secured this in my mind was that I had this ketamine trip, K-hole, up in my room, as I always do, because I'd have to go away from people, because, like, if I came back within an hour and a half, like, I would barely be able to talk. I couldn't string a sentence together. I'd be walking like a bloody, like, clunky robot. And so, yeah, no, I had this cable trip in my room, and I remember I was kind of going, like, like in and out of rooms in my house. And then I came out of the living room from the roof, or sorry, the ceiling, excuse me, and I was looking like, an inverted bat down across the room at the couch. And there was this girl in a leather jacket I'd never seen before. And this was kind of new to me, just like having like these almost daily ego death level trips. Yeah, so I go, who the fuck is she? And she gives me this kind of weird look, like, and then I back into the ceiling. So, didn't strike me as anything profound again. And then I meet my girlfriend at the time, who was, like, funnily enough, my pharmacist who was giving me methadone. And, I didn't see the resemblance at the time. Then one day, she was over at my house about 2 weeks into, I think this was right when we started dating. She was wearing a leather jacket. And I slinked off after, making her a meal, watching a horror movie together. I slinked off to do my ketamine. And I came down after about 20 minutes. I was fucking fried, man. I just walked over to the lazy boy, and I flipped myself over like that, just head by the ground. And I'm listening to her bitch about her job. And, like, all of a sudden, I see that resemblance. Her in the leather jacket, she's sitting exactly in the same place on this couch as I saw this girl, and it was the same girl. Um, but because of the lighting, I thought it was a white chick at the time, and she was, Korean, first generation Canadian, but from a Korean family. Um, but just because the lighting, she kind of looked like a white chick, and I'm looking at her, and then all of a sudden she gives me that same look, and I was like, "What?" And she's like, "You just said who the fuck is she?" And I was like, "No, I didn't. I did not. I did not. Because I didn't like think those words. I did not remember saying those words. Again, I was like really like scattered on ketamine, so I very well might have. And I was thinking about that correlation. So that was what kind of confirmed it for me. Now, after that, I was like, I started thinking that ketamine was trying to give me signs about the universe ending from a supernova, a star reaching the end of its days and basically igniting, and it collapses into uh, either a black hole or a quasar. But I was thinking that the ketamine was showing me that it was gonna collapse and it was gonna suck the universe in with it. And I remember starting to think that like I either wasn't human, like I was of some alien descent, some alien bloodline, or I was some sort of like spiritual descendant of some like higher plane entity or whatever. And so I started going a little bit loopy, not completely psychotic. Like, funnily enough, just a little bit loopy. Like, I started seeing the number 1111 absolutely everywhere. I started thinking synchronicity was happening in the smallest things. But interestingly enough, kind of at the end of those 3 years, I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be taking this. And I just decided to stop getting my prescription. And I stopped doing it. I mean, I still do ketamine every now and then. Like, I do it maybe once a month or so because it is, like, in K-hole doses, very good for pain. I find it kind of resets my nerve pain. So once a month, sometimes twice a month, is like a pretty good dose. And, like, honestly, ketamine on its own, even in K-hole doses, I find pretty damn boring. Um, I usually mix it with a psychedelic. That's when it gets interesting. Like 2CB or 4-HOMET, 4-HOMET. Pitocin, I believe, is what it's also called because it's a psilocin analog, but it feels a little bit more like LSD to me. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking ketamine. I mean, I'm surprised though that I didn't seriously damage my bladder with all this use, because like really, it's quite bad for your bladder when you use it chronically like that. I've heard of people needing transplants after just 2 years of daily use. I mean, again, I did have tolerance breaks every now and then, but that was like still like maybe once every few months. I mean, I dribble a bit when I piss now, but that's about it. So I kind of count myself lucky in that regard. And then personally, like now, I find if I try to do ketamine for more than like a day or more than like a gram of ketamine, and like I definitely wouldn't do more than a gram in a day. Um, I start to get a headache. Like I find it hard to do it longer than that, and I find that like my tolerance goes up very quickly if I even try. So it's just yeah. I mean, it's just one of those drugs that you it's really good. It really has a lot of positive benefits if you use it correctly, but it also is terrible for you if you take it addictively. Like anything, it should be used in moderation. But yeah, I'm not knocking it. I'm not knocking it. I mean, I was kind of stupid, kind of reckless for doing that much of it. But, I was coming fresh out of being, a heroin addict, slamming fucking heroin into my veins. So I still very much had that addictive personality, addictive mindset. And I'm quite proud of myself for saying, no, this is where I gotta draw the line because, yeah, my screws upstairs are starting to come loose, Um, so yeah, I mean, I still find it very spooky that I've had these like almost like prophetic events or these prophetic visions of future events, and I mean those are the only two where it was like bang on. But I also could have been like twisting things up in my mind to sort of fit these events. Making my own sort of self-fulfilling prophecy could be the case. I don't know. I remember them pretty clearly, and also because of the events that were preceded, um, uh, like it sort of hammered it all home as being something very bizarre to me. But yeah. Uh, Anyways, I just wanted to share. It's a crazy story, but yeah. Anyways, use ketamine in moderation if you're going to use it. It's a good medicine. It shouldn't get a bad rap. Um, Anyways, I wish you all a good day. Please do like, comment so we can talk. Sub so I have a little pat on the back to get me making more videos. No, anyways, yeah. I'll catch y'all later. Have a glorious day now.